Fears and phobias that you may or may not have heard of. This video is for educational purposes only. Animal fears, also known as zoophobia. Number 1, arachnophobia, the fear of spiders. Arachnophobians, look away. While there are many factors of why people are afraid of spiders, such as culture, childhood trauma, and of course, how Hollywood would portray them as, and in some cases, they can just simply be afraid of them without being around them. Although their looks may look scary and menacing, they're not all that scary, as they play a very important role in the ecosystem by keeping many insects populations under control. So if you are brave enough and see a spider, give it a high five and thank it for its hard work. Or not. Number 2, ophidiophobia, the fear of snakes. As scary, devious, menacing, and cunning the snakes may look, they're not really all that scary. Like the spider, they also play a very important role in the ecosystem as they keep many rodents and animals that they prey on under control. And they're more likely to run away from you should you ever encounter them, as they are more afraid of you than you are of them, and they will only attack unless provoked or to defend their territory or young. So for those of you who are worrying about encountering a snake, you're less likely to do so, as they will run away and hide, and most likely just focus more on hunting. Number 3, cynophobia, the fear of dogs. Now, a lot of people tend to be afraid of dogs, mostly because at some point in their lives they've been attacked by one, and although it can be a possibility to get attacked by one, it is also unlikely because it depends on how well the dog is trained and if it was trained to attack or fight or not. And of course, you'll have police dogs who were specially trained to attack criminals, which is a whole different story. However, the only time they will attack you is if you provoke them or if you train them to do so. So for those of you who are pet owners of dogs, make sure you properly train them and educate people on how to properly care and train for them. Number 4, alorophobia, the fear of cats. Although this phobia is not very common, there are some people who are afraid of cats. Most likely at some point in their childhood or at some point in their lives, they were either attacked or accidentally injured by a cat, and which causes them to develop a phobia for them. But most of the time, cats are gentle, cute, and cuddly, and you're less likely to be attacked by them than you are of dogs. But as I stated with the dogs, it also depends on how well you train them and if you train them to be fighting cats or to attack or not. Although I'm not sure if you can train cats to be fighting cats, but it is a possibility. It's all about how well you train them or if you train them to do things or act a certain way. So if you're an owner of cats or dogs, make sure you train them and properly educate others on how to properly care for both dogs and cats or any other pets you may own. Number 5, ethmophobia, the fear of insects. Although not all insects looks as scary as you think, but there are some that cause the people to be afraid of them, like getting stung by bees, wasps, hornets, and of course those pesky cockroaches, as they can carry many diseases and other stuff that can make us sick, and sometimes it can be fatal. As for getting stung by bees and wasps, I can also understand why people will be afraid to be stung by them as well, as it can be very painful. But fear not. The bees, wasps, cockroaches, and many other insects that you see are not as scary as you think, as they play a vital role in the ecosystem. When they're outside, of course, but not when they're invading your home. Take the ants, for example. As some people can also be afraid of them because ants are known to bite and sting, they also play an important role in the ecosystem. But again, as long as they're outside, we're good. But if they're invading your home, call the exterminator. And number 6, ornithophobia, the fear of birds. Now, I can see why some people can be afraid of birds, as some of them can look scary, like something from a horror film. Some grew fearful of them because of folklores told by many cultures around the world, and there has been some accounts where they have been either attacked or injured by certain bird species, which would cause them to develop a phobia for them. But many of the bird species are not as scary as you think, as many of the other animals that I've discussed in this video, they've also played a very important role in the ecosystem, as they keep many rodents, animals, and even fish populations that they prey on under control. And there are some birds who eat insects, which also helps keep the insects population under control, maintaining the balance of Mother Nature. And there are some bird species you can domesticate, such as parakeets, cockatiels, macaws, etc. These are just some of the fears and phobias that I'll be talking about for the next week. So keep an eye out for part 2. And remember, while some fears and phobia may seem silly, but they are real fears and phobias. So for those of you who are picking and bullying people for having phobias, think about what you're doing and think about how it's affecting them. And before you question or even make fun of people's fears and phobias, do your research and educate yourself. You all have an amazing day, and remember, keep shining. And until next time, stay classy, and I'll see you all in the next video.